The wish list. Item 11. Alfie had been cursed by a wizard and was now hounded by demons. Or, in slightly less hysterical terms, had managed to seriously annoy the strange old man who lived in the warehouse, so the man had set the security robots on him. The first one arrived while everyone was on their morning break. Alfie had already had a somewhat fraught morning. The curse meant that the warehouse was sending him increasingly insane orders to package up, and by 11:15 he was desperately in need of a restorative cup of coffee. But he did not get one. Because of the curse, the drinks machine instead gave him an undrinkable mixture of redbush tea and lemonade, and then refused to let him have anything else. Maybe he'd get used to it. Maybe he'd grow to like the taste. Except that he didn't have time to, because he had barely sat down with it when a security robot burst through the door, came trundling straight up to him, and announced, "You are in a restricted area. Stay where you are." Caught by surprise, Alfie spat hot fizzy tea everywhere, which only seemed to infuriate it further. "Do not resist," it shouted. "I am a security device." Everyone leapt up away from the table, partly to get away from Alfie's spray of sparkling lemon drink, and partly at shock from the invading robot. Everyone apart from Alfie, who was now trapped in his seat. The robot was trying to get at him, and in the process was pushing his chair up against the table, trapping Alfie in between. "What is that?" Havila was pointing at the robot, aghast. The security robots never usually came into the personnel areas, not during shifts at any rate. They were supposed to be restricted to unstaffed areas like the warehouse, which meant not everyone had seen one. They certainly hadn't seen them up close, like Alfie had, or indeed currently was. So up close that it was getting hard to breathe. "It's a security device," said Roshni. "It just told us that." "What's a security device?" wailed Havila. "That thing," said Hector. None of this was helping. Alfie threw the ghastly drink over his shoulder in an effort to distract the thing, and then wriggled down in his seat, sliding down out of the chair beneath the table. The robot shoved the chair in under the table as he disappeared, and then, as he appeared from out the other side, started shoving the whole table across the room at him. Everyone jumped back even further. "Do not attempt to interfere with this security device," yelled the robot. "I'm not trying to interfere with you," said Alfie, darting back to put another table between them both. "I'm trying to do the precise opposite of interfering with you." "It's gone mad," said Hector. "Everyone out!" They all rushed for the door, just as Rolf, their shift manager, came striding through. "Oi, what's going on here? Break time's over. Everyone back at your stations." "I'd love to," said Alfie, dodging to one side as the robot swung around the table at him and fending it off with a chair like a lion tamer. "But this thing doesn't seem to take breaks." Rolf just stared at him and shook his head. "It's always you, innit?" "My natural charm," said Alfie, throwing the chair away and getting behind another table. "You'll be docked for any damages to furniture," said Rolf. "Get on the table. I'm calling IT. The rest of you already behind on your next shift. Go on." He ushered the rest of the team out of the door as Alfie did what he was told and got up onto one of the tables. The robot tried to rush him again, but this time hit the edge of the table and discovered that it couldn't push it with Alfie's weight on top. It withdrew, reconsidered, and tried again in another place. Still no go. And no good a third time, either. This was a robot, however, and not much given to lateral thinking. By the time Rolf returned with someone from IT, Alfie was sitting down on the tabletop, watching the robot circle him relentlessly, like a man on a raft watching a hungry shark. With Rolf's help, the IT guy managed to grab hold of the robot and turn it off. Then he lifted up the tablet he had hanging around his neck on a lanyard and asked for Alfie's fob. "Has he been terminated?" he asked Rolf. "Not yet," said Rolf with some relish. "I'm right here," said Alfie, noting the irony that while the machine wouldn't leave him alone, the humans were evidently not going to pay him any attention at all. "Robot's operating correctly," said the IT man. "It was chasing me round the room," said Alfie. "Which it should have been," said the IT guy with a little too much satisfaction. "Your security pass is marked as fraudulent. It was reading the NFC chip in it." "What was it doing in the personnel block anyway?" asked Rolf, which seemed to Alfie a perfectly reasonable question, and one to which he suspected he had a perfectly reasonable answer. Someone must have let it in, said the IT guy. 99% of the time in this job, it's human error. Tell me about it, said Rolf. But erroneous or not, I'd like this human back on his shift. Can you reset his fob? Sure, said the IT man. Let me just... Hey, that's odd. It won't reset. Is that human error too? Said Alfie. Hang on, said the IT man. Let me... No. How about, No. No? Can't be done. System doesn't like you. I know how it feels, said Rolf. Well, you're already behind from this morning, and I'm not having any more interruptions, so I'm sending you home for the day, and try not to set off any alarms on your way out, please. I'll raise a ticket, said the IT man. It'll be sorted by tomorrow. It would not, Alfie was sure, be sorted by tomorrow. Rolf let him into the locker room with the manager's passkey and then went off to get Alfie's tasks reassigned while Alfie got changed. Alfie put his stocking-dot Christmas green trainers into his locker and stood looking at them. This was it, he supposed. The last time he'd be wearing them. They wouldn't be able to fix the fact that the system didn't like him. Nick Close had cursed him, and he was going to stay cursed. It would be a relief, of course, not to have to pack boxes, not to be harassed by robots and algorithms, not to have to wear the green shoes. But, on the other hand, he would not have a Christmas job, and consequently not have any Christmas money, and, more importantly, he would never get to the bottom of the mystery of the man in the warehouse. Oh well, it would make for a good story. He took the chance to go to the lavatory one last time before his bus ride home. Then he went to open the door to get out of the cubicle again, and found he couldn't. The door simply wouldn't open, as if someone was pushing from the other side. Then a voice outside said, "You are in a restricted area. Stay where you are." Stay where he was? In the lavatory? The lavatory, he realized, where he had left the presents for Nick Close, which meant... He looked up. Ah, yes. He didn't have to stay where he was. There was a way out. Up and out.